When imagining about the greatest conman in football history, some of you may think is Neymar for his famous Saudi Arabia heist and constant faking of injuries for the sake of his sister's birthday. But he gets nowhere close to one man who took conmanship in football to a whole new level. And just like Neymar, the greatest con artist also came from Brazil. So who was this guy? Why did he do it? How did he manage doing it? Did he got bursted for it? Stick all the way to the end of this video to find out all you need to know about this legendary fraudster. So imagine living the life of a professional footballer, earning money, enjoying fame, and playing for big clubs, all without ever actually playing. Sounds impossible, right? Well, one man did it. Carlos Kaiser, the greatest football conman in football history. This is the insane story of how he tricked teams, fans, and even legendary players for over a decade without ever kicking a ball. Carlos Henrique Raposo was his real name, and he was nicknamed Kaiser because of his resemblance to the great German defender Franz Beckenbauer. He was born in Brazil in 1963 in a poor background, and since his childhood he had an ambition to escape poverty and have a life where he could enjoy the world. Like most kids in Brazil, professional football is one of the options that can completely transform your life, and Carlos Kaiser was very much aware of that. Carlos Kaiser decided that it was football that would change his life and give him the luxury life he dreamed for. But unlike the legends of the game, Kaiser never had the talent to be a professional footballer, but he had something even more powerful: charm, intelligence, and a masterful ability to manipulate people. His career in both football and conmanship began in 1972 when he joined Botafogo Academy and spent just 1 year there before moving to Flamengo's academy, where he spent 6 years to create a CV of being in an academy of one of the biggest clubs in Brazil. And spoil alert, don't wait details of his football debut because it never came in his career ranging over a decade. He built friendships with real footballers and used those connections to land short-term contracts at top clubs. His trick: he'd arrive unfit and claim he needed time to regain match fitness. When it was time to train, he'd fake injuries, stage fights with fans, or even bribe doctors to give him false medical reports. Kaiser had mastered the art of deception. He always carried a fake mobile phone, pretending to talk to foreign clubs about transfer deals. He charmed journalists into writing positive stories about him. And when forced to play, he'd create distractions, like starting fights so he'd be sent off before touching the ball. One of his most insane moments came when he was playing for Bangu. The club owner, Castor de Andrade, a feared mafia boss, demanded that Kaiser be subbed in. Terrified, Kaiser did the unthinkable. Before touching the ball, he ran towards the opposition fans and started a fight. The referee sent him off immediately, and after the match, he told the owner, "I was defending your honor." Instead of punishment, he got an extension on his contract. For over a decade, Kaiser moved from club to club, escaping exposure through lies, charm, and pure luck. In the end, he never played a professional game, never scored a goal, and yet he lived the dream of a footballer. Carlos Kaiser was not blessed with skills for the sport that fed him, but he was blessed with manipulation and deception, which made him live the life he had always dreamt for as a kid. He held expensive parties and had a good time with women of his choice. Apart from luxury, he uses money and pribbing and keeping his con going. Carlos Kaiser is undoubtedly the greatest con artist in football history. The only man who comes close to Carlos Kaiser is a daring African man called Ali Dia, who deceived clubs that he was a talented footballer and cousin of the iconic African Ballon d'Or winner and former Liberia president George Weah. And that way he got contracts with various clubs. But unlike Carlos Kaiser, Ali Dia at some point found himself forced to play and was exposed how terrible he was at football, including one embarrassing moment with English team Southampton. Most of you are wondering whether Kaiser ever got arrested for this con. But he actually didn't. His fraud was technically not illegal to some point, and he did not found himself reported to authorities for it. Here are some of the clubs that got exploited by Carlos Kaiser's scum: Puebla, Botafogo, Flamengo, Independiente, Fluminense, and among others too. Carlos Kaiser's story is one of deception, audacity, and sheer brilliance. He didn't just trick clubs, he played the game of football without ever playing at all. Yet, despite decades of lies, he was never arrested, never reported to the authorities, and never truly punished. Instead, he became a legend, not for his skills on the pitch, but for his ability to outmaneuver an entire industry. In the end, Kaiser proved that in football, sometimes the greatest trick isn't scoring goals, it's making everyone believe you could. What are your thoughts on Carlos Kaiser? Was he a genius or a criminal? Let me know in the comments section below, and don't forget to like the video and also subscribe for such crazy stories and more.